Things are stirring in the world of death, and it looks as though some brand new regiments of renown may be crawling their way into our deathly hands very, very soon. In the upcoming Dawnbringers Book 4, we are getting not one, not two, but 6 brand new regiments of renown, each based around one of Nagash's Mortarchs, and they are going to be ready to bring some unique abilities and rules and powers to another death faction army that they join. Now, this isn't the first set of regiments of renown we've seen. Some of the older ones were introduced in the earlier Dawnbringers books, and they are usually a good way to get a select few models, sometimes at a little bit of a discount, both financially in their own box sets as well as points wise too. Certainly some like Veremord's Shamblers got you a decent little unit for a nice little discount compared to buying the zombies and the corpse cart separately. And in addition to that, they also bring, as I said, a few special rules and abilities to help them perform just a little bit better on the battlefield. It was never anything too powerful, but sometimes they were just nice to bring in another army just to add something that you didn't have easy access to. Certainly, again, in the case of Veremord's Shamblers, for certain armies it added a nice little chaff unit or roadblock that you could add in just to give the rest of your forces a bit of time to react to enemy charges or enemy movement. And these 6 new regiments that are coming, they are all death focused, as you may expect, being focused around the Mortarchs, and they can be taken in any death army that isn't the one that the Mortarch originates from. So for instance, the Catacross and Archon regiments of renown will be usable by Soulblight, Nighthaunt, and the Flesh-Eater Courts. The Lady Elinda regiment will be usable by Soulblight, Flesh-Eater Courts, and the Bone Reapers, and so on and so forth. So you can't take the Lady Elinda regiment of renown in a Nighthaunt list. It has to be in one of the other death factions that she's not a part of. And the kind of lore and fluff of it is that Nagash basically says, hey, Elinda, I need you to go help out Catacross with his Ossiarch Bone Reapers, so go and, just help them out for a bit. That's kind of the fluff behind it. Now, at the moment, there are 6 Mortarchs. Back in the End Times lore, Nagash had 9. So whether the other 3 ever get fleshed out and actually introduced into AOS, we don't know. But currently, we have got Usharan, we've got Catacross, we've got Archon, we've got Lady Elinda, we've got Manfred, and we've got Neferata. And so if you have a full selection of death armies, like I do, it is actually going to add quite a lot more customization and potential nice additions to your lists. So I personally am already really in love with this idea, and I can't wait to potentially try out Manfred in a Ossiarch Bone Reaper list or Catacross in a Nighthaunt list. And what we got shown in the Warhammer community article today was a snippet of some of the rules for them. We got shown some of the rules for the Neferata, the Usharan, and for Lady Elinda's regiments, and they all look maybe not super powerful or game-breaking in any way, but at the very least they all look quite fun, I think. Usharan runs with the Summer King's entourage, which is the Mortarch himself, 10 Crypt Guard, and 3 of the new Morbeg Knights. And their special rule is that whenever they are within 12 inches of Usharan, wholly within of course, the Crypt Guard and the Morbeg Knights get +1 attacks on their melee weapons. So this is a really nice just damage output increase. It's a really nice, simple, straightforward, strong rule. You are going to be able to get a really big amount of attacks on things like those Morbeg Knights and your Crypt Guard. So this one is good. I think all of these units are worth bringing anyway, so this is a strong little addition if you want to just add some hitting power to one of your other death armies. Neferata, conversely, is a little sneakier in her approach. Her regiment, the Royal Echelon, is the Vampire Queen herself and a selection of Black Knights and Death Rattle skeletons. Now, the article doesn't actually give confirmation as far as I can see on actual numbers, but I'm going to assume all of these regiments are largely similar in terms of size and scale, so I'm expecting this to be Neferata, a unit of 5 Black Knights, and then probably 10 Death Rattle skeletons. 10 seems more likely. They do actually come in a box of 20, so if it does end up being 20 Death Rattle skeletons, I wouldn't be too surprised, but I just think that in all likelihood it is going to be 10. And their special rule when you bring them is the Blood Queen's Will, and what that does is once per battle, at the end of your battle shock phase, you can replace the battle tactic you picked at the start of the turn with another one. And this is really incredibly strong, I think. It means if you've gone through your whole turn and not been able to achieve your chosen battle tactic, but you did manage to get another one done, just coincidentally, you can just switch to that one and get yourself a guaranteed few points. I would say it's not the most exciting in terms of a rule that gives you more dice to roll or more hitting power or just anything exciting in terms of actually rolling dice on the board. But in terms of winning you games and getting those victory points, this is very powerful, I think. It gives you a huge amount of flexibility and control, and you can basically just go for whatever you manage to achieve in terms of battle tactics in the turn and not have to worry too much about tunnel visioning on the one that you've specifically chosen, which is sometimes quite difficult. Sometimes you have a really bad selection of battle tactics that you can pick from, and you just kind of have to really go out your way and ruin some of your battle plans to try and achieve it. With this rule, you can be a lot more laid back and just know that whatever you do manage to achieve, you can just fall back to that battle tactic and guarantee you're going to get it. So I do think this one is going to be a popular one. Neferata is already a good pick in games. Death Rattle Skeletons are okay. Black Knights are, again, they're okay. They're nothing amazing. But I do think that simply having that points scoring flexibility is going to be a big draw of this regiment for a lot of players. Finally, we get shown the Nighthaunt Regiment as well. This is Lady Alinda and her Sorrowmourn Choir. Again, this looks to be a reasonably small selection. It is Alinda, some Dreadscythe Harridans, and some Miremorn Banshees. Now, these units are a bit cheaper than the other two, so I actually wouldn't be surprised if it was Lady Alinda, 10 Dreadscythe Harridans, and maybe 2 units of Banshees, because they come in a box of 4, so maybe 2 units of 4 Banshees, the Harridans and Alinda. In any case, the rule you get for bringing this regiment is Harvesters of Sorrow, and this gives you 2 potent buffs. Not only can enemies not receive or issue commands in the battle shock phase if they are within 3 inches of any units in this regiment, but on top of that, if any of the units in this regiment make a charge of 8+, they also get the Strike First rule, which really does make all the units in this regiment particularly potent at multi-charging and taking down several enemy units at the same time. Getting that Strikes First buff on the 8+ probably will happen at least a few times over the course of a game, and it is going to make a big difference for you. It means you can very easily attack with another non-Regiment of Renown unit first and still know that your Harridans or your Banshees are going to get to fight before your opponent gets to activate. So they all seem really fun and really quite useful for adding something specific to an army. Neferata gives you some really good victory point and, scoring control. Usharan just gives you some really nice hitting power in terms of a load of attacks into your opponent. And with the Nighthaunt one, you get some really nice shenanigans in terms of turning off commands and getting potentially more damage in thanks to that Strikes First ability. In terms of the points in the box, Usharan's Court looks to be running you 460 for Usharan himself, 140 points for the 10 Crypt Guard, and 150 points for the Morbeg Knights, so a total of around 750. Neferata's force will come to 410 for her, 130 for 5 Black Knights, and 110 for 10 Skeletons, again reaching you a nice round value of 650 points. Or if there are 20 Skeletons, 760, which is very close to the 750 of Usharan's Court. And then Lady Alinda, she is 270, 10 Harridans are 150, and then the Banshees are 90 for 4. So if it is Alinda, 10 Harridans, and 2 units of 4 Banshees, that is a nice round 600 points. So again, if they wanted them all to be the same kind of points value, it could potentially be 20 Harridans and get you up to that round 750 points that Usharan's Court is. Possible, but I think it's quite unlikely. For me, I'm fairly certain this is going to be Alinda, 10 Harridans, and 2 units of 4 Banshees, personally. That just feels more likely in terms of the size of these regiments that they're going for. So that is 3 of the brand new Death Regiments of Renown, which are coming in Dawnbringers Book 4. There are some more to see. We've got Catacrosses, Manfreds, and Arkans, but we haven't been shown them yet. But I'd really like to know what you think. Do any of these 3 tickle your fancy, or are you waiting to see what the other 3 are going to bring to the table? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and as always, thank you very much for watching. Please do like and subscribe for more Warhammer content from me, but until next time, I'll catch you later, guys.